Most people trying to figure out when they can retire are staring at the wrong number. They obsess over the size of their nest egg, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. But I've helped people with $1.5 million realize that they could retire earlier than they thought. And I've seen people with more than that who generally could not afford to stop working. But there's one number that actually tells you if you're ready. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it is and how to find yours. Before we get to that number, you need to understand something that trips up a lot of high earners as they plan out their retirement. There are really two different approaches to retirement, and most people only know about one of them. The first approach is capital drawdown. This is the one you've probably heard of. You would build up a big pile of investments, and then in retirement, you slowly draw down those to fund your lifestyle, usually around 4% a year, which is where the 4% rule comes from. The accuracy of that 4% number is debated now, and we'll cover that in another video. But the idea is that your investments keep growing enough that you don't run out before the end of your life. It can work, and for a 25-year retirement with a well-structured investment, you should be able to outlive your capital. But the approach we prefer is the second one, and that's income. Instead of selling off your assets, you convert them into recurring income. You arrange your money so that it pays you enough through interest, dividends, or other income-producing instruments that you can comfortably cover your expenses without really touching the capital underneath. This is the approach we help many of our clients structure because it shifts the question from how big is my portfolio to a more important question, which is how much income can my portfolio actually produce? And that leads us to the number that matters. What percentage of your retirement is actually funded? In other words, of the monthly income you'll need to live the life you want in retirement, how much of it can your assets reliably produce? More importantly, how can you work that number out? If you need $10,000 a month and your investments can generate all $10,000, you're 100% funded. You're ready. If it can only produce $6,000, you're 60% funded. And now you know exactly how much of a gap you're working with. That single percentage cuts through everything. It doesn't care how big your total balance looks. It tells you the only thing that actually matters in retirement and whether the income supports your lifestyle. Many people try to plan their retirement without knowing information like this. So to get there quicker, we've built a completely free retirement readiness quiz for you to use. You put in your numbers, your real situation, and it shows your retirement funded percentage, along with a larger overview of your current financial situation. The link to that's in the description. It's completely free. Once you have that number, though, you need to figure out exactly what it means and how it practically applies in real life. So let's look at an example. We'll call this example Dave. Dave is 60. He wants to retire at 65. Right now, he lives comfortably on $11,000 a month, and that includes a $2,500 mortgage payment. He'll make the last mortgage payment right as he retires, so that expense goes away. That drops him to about $8,500 a month. But Dave wants to travel, so he adds another $1,500 a month for that, bringing him to an even $10,000 per month. So what does his current situation look like? Between his 401k, some company stock, and his wife's IRAs, they've got about $1.5 million, mostly in growth ETFs. That money will likely keep growing over the next 5 years. Dave's question to us was simple. Can I actually retire at age 65? And the answer was yes. Here's how. Let's say that Dave activates Social Security at $2,500 a month. That's a quarter of his target right away. Then he needs his investments to produce the remaining $7,500 a month. One way to do that is to take $500,000 of his $1.5 million and put it into an income-producing investment structured to pay around $7,500 a month while keeping a layer of downside protection just in case the market drops. That single piece covers his entire income gap. And the other $1 million, it stays invested for growth as a cushion and a backup, something we've done with clients in the past. Another option could be putting $600,000 into a slightly more conservative income structured note that gets 15% interest with 30% downside protection versus 3 stock market indexes. Assuming the market doesn't break the downside protection, you get $7,500 per month from that investment alone. The other $900,000 plus the growth of of that over the next 5 years can be invested and used if you ever miss receiving an interest payment. Option 3 would be for Dave to simply pay off his mortgage now and retire comfortably at age 60. Of course, a good financial advisor should let you know all the options available for you. So the main takeaway is once Dave stopped asking, is 1.5 million enough, and started asking, how much income can my 1.5 million get? His whole retirement came into focus. He went from hoping a retirement date to knowing exactly what his options were. If you are in a situation where you're wondering how your finances can translate into an actual retirement plan, feel free to reach out and we're happy to chat. Use the link in the description to book a complimentary 30-minute call. We'll look at your actual situation, walk through how much income your assets could realistically produce, and what a real plan would look like. It's completely complimentary, no obligation. A link is in the description. Now, even though it's an incredibly important number, your retirement funded percentage still isn't the entire picture. Taxes, healthcare, how long you'll be retired, market conditions, all of these things matter. But no single number gets you closer to an answer than that one. It tells you whether you're on track, how big your gap is if you have one, and how much work is left to do. But even if your retirement is fully funded and you're on track, you can still derail your progress if you're making one of these common mistakes we see all the time with high earners. So watch this next video and I'll break down some of the worst financial mistakes we see people making during the highest earning years of their career. Check it out.